Hey you guys, welcome back to another edition of Cover One Buffalo. This is your post-game edition, preseason game 2. Just wrapped up the game against the Cleveland Browns. Gonna let this chat room get going here, guys. While we get that going, I want to attend to a little business. If you didn't catch the pregame show, we do that every week. Also before the game, so catch that. We do about a half hour. I got to do that with Eric. So even though it is now in the post game, had some good conversations in there and got to get Eric on the show, which we don't always do. So again, while this chat room's getting going here, I just want to let you guys know to head over to cover1.net, get over in the premium area in the site, and go sign up for the premium subscription. Right now, for $10, you can get access to the premium content. That's content that doesn't go out to everybody. That's only for the premium subscribers. It's great content. We have a great team of guys constantly churning out new stuff. Eric puts in special film room things just for the premium content members. You also get access to the Slack channel, which there's some guys here I can see in the chat right now that are in the Slack channel. That thing was ripping during the game tonight. It's always an awesome group of guys there in the Slack channel, plus all the contributors. Eric, there's a film room section in the Slack channel that you can go, and Eric's posting stuff in there all the time too. So that alone is worth the $10 in my opinion. So get in there, go to cover1.net, subscribe to the premium content, $10. That is ending this preseason, guys. We just wrapped up the second game. You don't have a ton of time left to get that deal. Once that's over, I don't know if that deal will come back. So definitely want to get in on that deal. And then while you're looking up Cover One, check out the app. We have an Android, iOS app. Go to your marketplace or wherever you get your apps. Download the app. You get direct notifications to your phones. Monday morning when all these guys are dropping their content after watching the game, you're going to get that right to your phone while you're at work, pretending to work. You can read Cover One, whatever you're doing. So download the app, go to our YouTube, subscribe, like, yada, yada, all that stuff. You know how to find us. Guys, we got a lot to talk about. I'm solo tonight, so I'm going to be relying on you guys in the chat a little bit to drop some questions in and keep this conversation flowing. That's the beauty of the show, doing it live, interacting with the fans. So going to rely on you guys quite a bit here. But while some questions are coming in, obviously the big story right now, AJ McCarron leaves the game, did not play well, 3 for 6, 12 yards. People were wondering what was going on. Turns out at some point in the first quarter, he breaks his collarbone hairline fracture. It's being reported by Vic Carucci of the Buffalo News. That's a big deal, guys. It was a 3-man quarterback race. Now it's a 2-man quarterback race. Not sure what they're going to do with McCarron, if they're going to try to come up with some injury settlement or they're just going to allow him to heal and get him back on the roster. I'm not sure. I would assume that they maybe come up with some type of injury settlement with him and then ride this out as a 2-man QB competition for the rest of the training camp, or training camp's over, but the rest of the preseason here. I think that is really how it was playing out anyway. McCarron's poor performance. He played okay in the last game, but overall, let's just say it's now a Peterman, Josh Allen competition. I think before we found out the news of the broken collarbone, it was, as the way Josh Allen played tonight, that's a 2-man competition between Peterman and Josh Allen. I think Josh Allen earned himself reps with the ones this week and possibly reps with the ones in the game and a chance to start in the game. So I would love to hear you guys' thoughts on that. If Allen has earned the right to play with the ones, I think he has. Steve Tasker, as the game was ending, he was asked who the best quarterback has been so far this preseason. He said it's hands down Nathan Peterman. I don't agree with that at all. I think Nathan Peterman has definitely done some nice things. I think Nathan Peterman has put up good stats, but I don't think you can make a ton out of stats. I hate to sound like the stats are for losers, guys, but I don't think you can make a ton out of stats in the preseason. I think if you look at the play, even in this last, in the second half of this game, Peterman struggled early. He struggled when the pocket broke down. When he's got a nice clean pocket and guys can break open or guys are getting open underneath, he can hit those all day. I don't think that's the Bills' path to success. Bills fan 7883 says Peterman was impressive with the threes. He was. Josh Allen was also impressive with the threes, moved the ball downfield a little bit more, made a little bit more spectacular plays, in my opinion. I think, Peterman's stats definitely benefit from somebody brought it up in the Slack channel. I think Peterman's stats definitely benefit from the O'Leary touchdown pass. I mean, that's a long play for a touchdown that helps his stats quite a bit. Gregory Thompson just is saying that in here. Yeah, Peterman finished strong, but not covering O'Leary pads the stats. I got to agree with that. So quarterback competition just got a lot more interesting tonight. I felt, and this is just an eye test thing, I felt like we were seeing the change of the guard tonight. Not that there was a guard because nobody was the incumbent starter, but I felt like that was coming tonight and we saw it. Allen just is, the lights came on and he made plays. I think he's just got a different level. I think he's got a different ability, his mobility, his ability to push the ball downfield, his ability to make big plays, his ability to throw every throw on the field. And he showed some of the throws that he struggled with, the screen pass, a couple of the shorter, more anticipation throws. He made those throws tonight, and those are the throws that people are concerned with. He did still miss on some throws, but he was 69%. So above the sub 60 that everybody talks about, that's okay. Like, I think that is what is going to win games. But I'm not just here to talk about the quarterbacks. Obviously, I'm sure we'll keep talking about it. We got Joe Kuzmuski says, I want to see Allen with the ones. He looked fantastic. Peterman just lacks arm strength to make the throws on curl routes and the like. Yeah, I mean, I agree. I want to see Allen at least get a fair competition here in this last important week, right? Like, there's 2 games left, but this next one's the most important. Let's see here. Did Matt Milano lose his starting position? So let's talk about the defense a little bit. We've talked about quarterback a lot on these podcasts. Defense didn't look great. The starting defense didn't look great on that first drive, especially. Even though they kind of hunkered down a little bit after that first drive, they were still getting gashed for runs. And that's concerning. A couple other concerns I had was the interior line. Right before Kyle Williams went down for an injury, I was saying that over in the Slack channel that, this year I thought the defensive line would be able to force a little bit more sacks because Starr and Kyle would be able to anchor the middle while Jerry rushed along the sides. But that middle has been wide open on passing plays with the starting defense, and they were getting run right up the middle too. So that's a little concerning to me. I'm going to have to watch back and kind of get Eric's opinion on why that's happening. But definitely some concern with the first defense. Again, though, guys, it's such a small sample still, even though the first defense got a few more series than they had in the previous game. It's still a small sample size. That first drive, I'm going to chalk up to just being the first drive. They're not game planning for the Browns. Sometimes it takes a little bit to get a rhythm going. But to answer the question from Brandon Lee here, do I think Matt Milano loses his starting position? I don't know that he loses it. I think that they're going to rotate it. I think Humber will get some more rotation this week. I think you might see Humber roll out with the 3 in the third preseason game with the 1s. But I don't think he's lost his starting job. I think that Eric alluded to it in the pregame show a little bit that, it's not going to be the worst thing if Humber plays. So I think they're going to try to push Matt Milano to really secure that job, but I don't think he's lost it yet. I think we got to expect some ebbs and flows with both Milano and Edmonds. Edmonds made some plays. He made some mistakes. Nick here is saying Edmonds looked better, not as tight. I agree that he looked better. He still made some mistakes. He's going to make mistakes, guys. He's a rookie. Milano's only in his second year. They're both aggressive, fast guys. They're going to get out of position from time to time. That's going to happen. They're young guys. Greg says Poyer's pride bruised from that stiff arm. That stiff arm was brutal, man. That running game. The Browns do have a running game. We know that. And the Bills struggled last year to stop the run. I thought maybe this year would be a little bit better with Starr and then bringing in Edmonds as a middle linebacker is a little bit quicker. Early indications from this game, again, can't make too much from this one game, but early indications would say that run, stopping the run might be a little bit of an issue still. It's a bend but don't break defense, though. So that's going to happen. I mean, if that game goes on, they still held them to 7 points in the first quarter. So they still did a pretty good job of anchoring down and not allowing that to, the Browns to come out and put back-to-back drives up on them. So there's something to that as well. So while I was a little like Joseph, Weegold is saying, I was disappointed in the run defense for the first team. I was disappointed in it too. However, again, small sample size, and I liked their ability to come back, anchor down a little bit, get some 3 and outs, get the offense the ball back. Problem was the groups play off each other, right? So the defense gives up that first drive, but McCarron couldn't get anything going either. So they weren't helping the Bills defense at all. The Bills defense continued to get the ball turned over. This was the problem that the Bills had last year, is they were on the field all the time. The team wasn't getting the ball moving. Allen comes in, moves the ball, scores 3 times. Defense looks a little bit better when Allen's out there. They play together. All the different units play together. Mike Watkins says, I thought the red zone defense was good. Yeah, I mean, Carolina didn't look great, right? They drove down, scored pretty quickly. It looked a little bit better this time. Did the coaches make a point of having Josh Allen play the short game tonight? From Eyeball Billy. I don't know that it's something that we're going to have to watch. I don't know that they made a point to make him pass the short game. I think maybe Josh Allen just kind of took what was there for him. He didn't. I think, too, I said this week on the podcast. We talked about Allen pushing the ball vertically with the 3s. When you look at what he did, some of it was guys just weren't getting open underneath, and then he had to force vertical passes because that's where the plays were to be made. So maybe some of it was that the first, second reads were getting open and he just hit those guys. We don't really know yet. There's no all 22. It's hard to tell some of that stuff with the broadcast. Watching it live, I know there's certain plays where I had distractions in my house, so didn't really get to see. So I don't know. To answer your question, I don't know if it was intended by the coaching staff to push him to work their short game. But I thought he made some nice anticipation throws. I thought that screen pass, while it didn't gain many yards, I think it was good to see him hit that right on the money. That's a throw that he struggled with, that people were concerned about him making. Let's see what else. Chris Beckman says, Mayfield had plenty of time in the pocket. I think our D line is mediocre. Yeah, at the same time, Mayfield wasn't playing against the starting defensive line, and there's definitely plenty of times where they had him uncomfortable in the pocket. Mayfield is good at manipulating the pocket. That's what he's going to do. So I don't know what to say there. I think the defensive line, I was a little disappointed in the lack of pass rush from the starting defensive line. I would have liked to see a little bit more. They did get Tyrod Taylor uncomfortable a couple of times. They had a sack on Tyrod. We're unable to wrap him up. That's 2 weeks in a row that's happened. That's not good. So defensive line, I think, definitely needs some work. I was hoping it would be a little bit ahead where it is now. Again, though, guys, second preseason game. I'm not ready to worry about the defense yet. I saw one, I think it was Jerry Sullivan tweeted out, people were talking about this as a top 5 unit in the league, which I haven't heard many people talking about the Bills being a top 5 unit in the league. I think people think they're going to be good. Top 5 is a whole different category, different story. But then he was basing it off the first drive, saying like, well, people can't talk about that. That's ridiculous. I also don't think you can discredit this defense based on a first drive in the second preseason game. So we'll see. I'm not worried about it. If this continues in September, then I start to worry. I want to see things getting fixed. Let's see here. Somebody said, my boy Gregory says, nickel competition. Greg, obviously you're a follower of the show and here all the time. You know my feeling on this, that the backup defensive backs, not super happy with them. I'm going to have to go back and take a look. I thought they played better tonight. It looked like Mayfield was struggling to find some guys open down the field. So I think that depth played a little bit better. Maybe they stepped up. Maybe the coverages got switched up a little bit that McDermott and Frazier were running. I'm not quite sure. I'm going to have to go back and watch a little bit. Taron Johnson made some plays today. I thought that just from my first watch, I thought he came up in the run game. He made a nice tackle. That terrible block from Landry, I think that was a clean block. I know we all hate Landry and don't like the player. I do think the block was clean, but you hate to see that in the preseason. But I thought Taron Johnson played pretty well. Bills fan 7883 says the same thing. Taron Johnson played well. Notice Levi was the number 4 quarterback tonight too. Yeah, and Levi made a great play on the ball. Levi Wallace, a guy that I haven't heard about in camp. I was hoping to hear more about him. I was hoping that he would step up into that fourth, fifth cornerback, because I think they're going to have to carry that on this team. He's got the length. It seems like he's got the athleticism. Something hasn't clicked for him, though. He went undrafted. He's a walk-on guy. So I don't know if he's just a developmental prospect. Maybe he could be a practice squad guy, too. I love the play he made on the ball, though. That was nice. It would be nice if we could get a guy with some length in there as well, because Taron Johnson is not a length guy. But it looks like, to me, I haven't heard Phillip Gaines' name once this preseason. Barely heard it in camp. Taron Johnson's a name you hear. People are happy with his development. I think right now Taron Johnson is solidifying himself as the nickel corner going into the season right now. Jay Hudman says Sierra Neal came through as well. So did Carter. I apologize there. Sierra Neal made a couple nice plays. He had that huge hit where I thought, man, he probably just broke his collarbone on, came back in and had a sack later in the game. Another guy like Levi Wallace, good to hear his name. I think this is the game where those guys got to get their name over the loudspeaker, get themselves on the stat sheet, show that they maybe belong on special teams in this team at the bottom of the 53. Sierra Neal is another guy that's definitely a developmental player. I think they want to stash him on the practice squad if they can. I'm hoping that they'll be able to keep him on the practice squad. I was hoping that his development would be a little bit quicker over the summer. He's coming from a small school, though, so we have to expect that might be a slow development for him. But I do think the team has a need for a guy with his size, speed, his versatility, the potential that he shows that the player he might be able to be. The Bills have a need for that. So I'd love to see his development continue to increase. It'd be nice if next game, maybe you hear his name a couple more times. Maybe sort of like a Matt Milano was last year, another 5th round pick, just develop throughout the season. Maybe doesn't start the season, but comes in as a rotational guy and you start to hear his name more. That would be ideal if Sierra Neal could do that by the end of the year, be deep into this rotation as the guy they need, as that big nickel that Eric talks so much about. Fits that role perfectly. I don't know if that it's reasonable to expect for him to be able to make that leap into the NFL from such a small school. Promethean Herbmession, I don't know this guy's name. Promethean says Nasty Nate Peterman was solid again. Peterman's definitely solid. Did not make mistakes. 8 for 10. I mean, 80%, that's hard to argue with. 113 yards, 1 touchdown. A couple of those throws weren't great. That throw to Prohl got some nice yards, but it wasn't a great throw. He was wide open across the field. Barely got the throw to him. The throw to O'Leary definitely padded the stats. Bills fan 883. Gaines was still in the game in the fourth quarter, telling for a vet. I agree. I think Gaines is not playing his way into the roster. And I mean, Eric was really down on him after he watched the tape. I've been down on him. I don't know why. I'm going to bring his name up again. I don't know why they just didn't bring Leonard Johnson back instead of Gaines. Coaches saw something in him. I haven't seen it yet. Prospect watcher Marcus Murphy's having a great preseason so far. I couldn't agree anymore with that. Yeah, Marcus Murphy is tearing things up. He looks explosive. He's hitting holes. Murphy was 4 for 39 with a long of 22. Didn't he almost have a touchdown too? And it was called out at like the 1. Murphy's a baller, man. I think Murphy's definitely taken that 3rd running back spot. I still think it's McCoy, Ivory, and then Murphy. I think Ivory's only keeping that spot, 1, because he's a vet, and 2, because he offers that kind of power running game that they don't have with McCoy or Murphy. But Murphy, man, the way that guy's hitting holes, he's playing like he wants the job. And I think Cadet and my boy Taiwan Jones are on the outside looking in. Then you see that punt return by Murphy too. And that really hurts Cadet and Taiwan Jones, because Taiwan Jones is going to make this roster by playing special teams. But if Murphy can be a guy that you can rely on in the running game, if anything, God forbid, was to happen to Shady or Ivory, but then you can also rely on him in the special teams. I'm sorry, Taiwan. If you're just a special teams guy, you're out of here. You think the O and D was playing vanilla today? Sean, I don't know. I didn't get to really that's something that we'll know a little bit more. I don't think this offense, Dable said that he was playing pretty basic, but his pretty basic is very far from vanilla from what we've seen past years from the Bills, especially in preseason. He's throwing all kinds of personnel packages out there, all kinds of different schemes and things out there. So I'm excited to see what it not vanilla looks like for Dable. But yeah, I guess he would say that it's vanilla. I think the defense is playing pretty vanilla. I mean, you expect that in the preseason. The Browns didn't seem like they were playing super vanilla, but I think that's a Greg Williams thing, especially on defense. I think maybe their offense was a little bit, but that defense, man, they were coming after McCarron and even a little bit after Allen. So I don't think they were playing super vanilla, but I think our teams were dialing it back as far as what they were scheming up. But that'll come with another rewatch or two. I don't know if you guys have Game Pass, but I'll give it a rewatch, and then I'll lean on Eric. Definitely worth following. If you aren't currently following Cover One, go over and follow us on Cover One. Eric, I just didn't get to see because I was in the Slack channel, but I did see that people were telling me he was posting during the game as he was watching. I learn all the time from Eric and what the team is doing and what defenses we're running and things like that. So let's see what else. Tyrod looked like Tyrod. Got it. I see what you did there, Gordon. Yeah, Tyrod didn't look great, but they didn't do much with him, right? He was handing the ball off the majority of the time. Their running game was running all over the Bills. I think for the Browns, if any Browns fans are watching, I do think it's going to be, I know they're just saying they're going to stick with Tyrod right now, or Tyrod, whatever he's going to be called. I think it's going to be hard for them to continue to watch the film and not think that Baker Mayfield's a better quarterback. I mean, his manipulation of the pocket, his accuracy, his willingness to make plays down the field. He didn't look great tonight. He was 7 for 13, 75 yards, but I don't know, man. I feel for those coaches to try to keep the fans from wanting Mayfield all season long, because Tyrod's Tyrod. I don't think a whole lot's changed with him. I could see them. I mean, he's a bridge. I think he is what he is. He's a bridge quarterback. So there's that. Nick Foles is in the chat. Go Eagles, he says. Good luck in your recovery, Mr. Foles. Thoughts? I want more Peterman with Benjamin time. Benjamin needs to develop into the guy who should be open one-on-one in the 5 to 15-yard range. All right, Rafi. Benjamin's looked pretty good. He seemed to get open. He was open for McCarron a bunch on the 3 completions. I think 2 of them were to Benjamin. Benjamin was open for Allen too. Allen just missed him. It wasn't an accurate throw. Allen definitely missed the route. I don't know if there was a miscommunication there or it was just an inaccurate throw. When they replayed it, it looked like Kelvin Benjamin probably could have caught it. If it looked like maybe a lazy attempt by Benjamin, that bugged me a little bit. Benjamin's got a little bit of that, I think, in him, where if the thing's not right on the money, he's not going after it. I thought that first game, Peterman-Benjamin connection was there. I think that actually padded Peterman's stats in that first game a little bit, was having Kelvin Benjamin in the game. I think Benjamin is out to prove something this year. It's a contract year. He was hurt for a while. That knee's flared up a little bit again. I think he's out to prove that he's healthy. He's going to be number 1 receiver for this team, a reliable pass catcher. I think any of the quarterbacks, I think this is obviously a 2-man battle now between Allen and Peterman. I think whoever wants to win this job really needs to focus on getting the ball to Kelvin Benjamin. I think he's the best option to move the chains for this team, get the guy the ball. Greg says regular season alligator arms will be a problem. I mean, with a guy like Allen, and this is something that Eric brought up when the Bills signed Curley. Eric did an article talking about Curley's catch radius and how important that is with a guy that maybe is slightly less accurate, like Josh Allen. That's what you expect out of Kelvin Benjamin, is a guy with a huge catch radius. He's such a big guy. So you would expect him to have a better catch radius. When you saw the play today, not the catch radius you expect out of Kelvin Benjamin. We're going to need more of that from him. So we'll see. I think obviously the story is the quarterbacks. Another story creeping up here throughout camp is tight ends. Kaiir Lee was 3 catches, 24 yards, mostly with Josh Allen in that second unit. I was pretty surprised to see Lee with the second unit, but good for him, man. He did his thing. He came out, got open, caught the ball when it came to him. Nick O'Leary, 4 for 70 yards and a touchdown. Obviously, he had a 35-yard touchdown, so that pats those stats a little bit. But he was playing at the end of the game. There's a story here, folks. He's not playing at the end of the game to prove a point to him. I think the Bills really like Kroom, although there was an injury to Kroom. Not really sure what's going on there. I didn't see any reports on that. It looked like he walked off the field. Looked like he was a little bit banged up. But they like Kroom, they like Lee, they like Clay, and obviously Logan Thomas. Leary seems to be the guy out of this tight end room, which he's still playing well. I don't know if there's any trade value in there. I think if he gets cut, he gets picked up immediately by somebody. A lot of people have speculated that he would go right to the Patriots. I could see that, I suppose. I think there's a number of teams that could use a Nick O'Leary, reliable, good blocking tight end. But yeah, he was playing end of the game, guys. That's Greg says it right there. It's a very telling thing. And Kaiir Lee's playing with the twos. To me, that says Nick O'Leary is playing his way off this team, whether it doesn't seem to be in the games, but in practice, he must be playing his way off the team, or these other guys are just stepping up. The coaches see that potential. O'Leary's on a contract year. Maybe the Bills think, we got Lee here, and O'Leary's going to want more money next year. That makes no sense to keep him at that rate. We'll just get rid of him. Kroom's so much cheaper. I think Kroom's a few $100,000 cheaper. Maybe we just keep Kroom. He's got a lot of potential. Sorry, Nick O'Leary. You don't cost us a ton now, but we don't want to have to pay you next year and risk losing Kroom to the practice squad. If we try to get him on the practice squad and somebody picks him up, we don't want to risk that. So some of that could be in play too. With the tight ends, a little bit of money game. Not really sure what's going on, but O'Leary definitely in the doghouse, playing with the backups there in the third string. Let's see here. Third QB options from Havana. Yeah, I think they're going to have to bring in somebody. I thought they might even bring in somebody for that fourth game just to finish up the preseason camp arm type guy. I don't know who they're going to bring in right now for a third arm to get through the rest of preseason here. Matt Moore was the first name that came to my head. I know he played with Daboll. I know he's sitting out there. He's a vet, so I don't think it would be hard for him to come in and pick up what they're trying to do. I don't think he's looking for a starting job in the league. I think he's just out there, maybe come in, make a little bit more money, play for the next 3 weeks, and then go back to wherever he stays. So Matt Moore makes sense to me. Who knows? There's probably some other guy that they had in. There was a couple guys that came in through OTAs that were trying out. They might bring one of those guys in and give them another look, get some film on a guy. I'm not really sure what they're going to do. I don't think anyone they bring in is even in consideration to make the 53-man roster. It's Nathan Peterman and Josh Allen right now, and that's it. I think they'll roll into the season with those two, and I'm totally fine with that. I was kind of hoping it played out that way anyway. Wasn't really super interested in bringing 3 quarterbacks into the season. Most teams don't. Most teams have 2, and then they'll sit a guy, not dress him all season. So opens up a roster spot from somebody else. Greg asks, Marcus Murphy a roster lock? Yeah, I think so. I think he is a lock to make the roster. I haven't seen anything from Cadet. Cadet was 5 for 8 yards. With a 5-yard being his longest run. He fumbled on one of his plays. He hasn't done anything to prove to me that he deserves a spot over Marcus Murphy. Tywin Jones hasn't gotten a single rush this preseason so far. He's gotten a couple kick returns. Nothing. He hasn't really been on the field, so I think he's the last guy. I think they like Ford, but I think Ford's a practice squad guy. I think they roll with the 3 running backs. I think you got McCoy, Ivory, Murphy, and I'm totally happy with that rotation. If you can tuck Ford on the practice squad, that's awesome. If something happens to one of those guys, bring Ford up for a couple weeks. Totally cool with that. I think Ford's a great practice squad candidate. One thing that bothers me about Ford, I know a couple guys like him, but the one thing that really bothers me with Ford is he has to learn how to chip when he's on those delayed routes and stuff like that. He is just running by guys and not chipping, and this offensive line needs that. I know it's hard for rookies to come in and learn how to do that, but he's definitely got to figure that out. Really need some help from him there, but we got trying to keep up with the chat room here, keeping things going. If you guys have any questions, get them in. The injury to AJ honestly reminds me of how EJ got started. We wanted Cobb to start and let EJ groom. Next thing you know, injury, then history. Yeah, the infamous Matt, right? The Kevin Cobb Matt. leads to an EJ Manuel starting. I felt before the injury, I said it at the beginning of this pod, before the injury, I felt like we were watching Josh Allen take over the job. I know Peterman has a better stat line when you look at the box score. Peterman has more yards, better completion percentage. They both have 1 touchdown. Josh Allen did things, and I keep saying this, I think he gives them a better chance to win. Josh Allen did things that the other two can't do. His mobility, this big arm, he stayed calm, cool, collect when the pocket was collapsing. He made plays, he moved the ball. They scored 3 times. The 3 times he was out there, they scored. I don't know, guys. I think it's pretty clear to me, at least, Josh Allen gives this team the best chance to win for a number of reasons. His ability to push the ball downfield. We talked about this in the pregame show. That ability, whether he hits those passes or not, the national media killed him for not hitting those passes all week. They were inaccurate or whatever. That ability alone opens up the run. You can't stack the box. You can't come up on a guy like that because he is going to hit you with the deep ball. So the threat of the deep ball alone keeps the defense on their heels. They have to play back on that. That's going to open up things for LaShawn McCoy, Marcus Murphy, Chris Ivory, and even the tight ends, things like that, the underneath routes. So that threat of his cannon is going to make things open up for the offense, where Peterman, you can really stack up on him. I know he had that longer touchdown to Kelvin Benjamin, but that isn't who Nathan Peterman is. Nathan Peterman's a guy that's going to go something like an 8 for 10 on short dumps, find the open guy, which is fine. I just don't think the Bills possess enough talent to consistently move the ball against starting defenses over and over again throughout a whole game for 4 quarters and put together long drives and win games that way. It'd be nice, but that's what Tom Brady does. That's not what Nathan Peterman does. I think what the Bills are going to need to win games is maybe less completions, but bigger plays. And I think that's what Josh Allen gives. And I felt personally, just from an eye test in this first watch, I think Allen played really well in his first game. I think he played better this game. I think he's deserving of first team reps prior to AJ McCarron's injury. I don't think the injury has anything to do with Josh Allen getting himself first team reps or being in a better position to compete for a starting job. I think Allen has done that all himself without anybody. The play action bomb threat is huge for Shady. Yeah, I agree. That touchdown was good, as you'll see. His pocket's presence was great. Yeah, I thought Allen was super calm, cool, collect. I was mentioning that in the Slack channel. Even in that 2-minute drive, they didn't score a touchdown. I do wish, that's one thing, man. I wish McDermott wouldn't have been so conservative. There's 2 4th downs at the end of the 2-minute drive. I don't care about winning in preseason. I know that they want to win everything they do, but I don't give any cares about the scoreboard in preseason. You have a quarterback in, a young quarterback in, and a 2-minute drive, he misses Logan Thomas in the end zone. Give him one more shot at the touchdown. We know Steven Hauschka can come in and make a 25, 30-yard field goal. I don't need to see that. I want to see Josh Allen perform with 7 seconds left. What is he going to do? Is he just going to throw a pick? Can he make a play? Can he make a play with his legs? That's what I want to see. Let Josh Allen do his thing. Again, it happens. It was like a 4th and 2 or something. It was for a 53-yard field goal. I get that you want to run Hauschka out there and see if he can make a long field goal and get that unit together, the long snapper, make sure everything goes correctly. Nothing against special teams. I want to see Josh Allen go for it on 4th and 2, see if they can continue that drive and score down and go down and get a touchdown. Those are things I want to see in the preseason. It's not the regular season. I don't care about the scoreboard. I don't know, guys. I don't know what you guys thought about that. Maybe I'm just being a Josh Allen homer a little bit there, but I would like to see that. One thing that hasn't gotten mentioned, I don't know, because I've been on the show here, guys. I haven't been on Twitter. I don't know if anybody has seen anything about Kyle Williams' injury. Obviously, it didn't look good. He got rolled up on there in the first quarter. Everybody's heart sinks. We love Kyle Williams. I don't have to talk about how much he means to this team. Looked like he was able to walk out on his own power. That's a great sign. But I don't know if anybody's seen anything about what the injury was or the extent of the injury. I'm hoping it's not serious. Even if, Kyle Williams is the kind of guy that we need to have out there. So I don't know if anybody's seen anything yet. Let me know in the chat box if you have. If you have any other questions, get them in. The chat's kind of slowed down a little bit here. So, yeah, Mikey Mike says the 4th and 1 on Allen was conservative as well. Yeah. People are saying Kyle Williams had a cast on his leg. He left in a brace. That's all they know. Could be. Well, that's not a great sign. I'll have to check on Twitter a little bit more. So anyway, I mentioned it earlier, guys. I can't stress it enough. And the guys in the chat room here can tell you, the ones that are in the Slack channel, join the premium membership here at Cover One. It helps us deliver the content for you guys. It helps us to get the contributors the things they need, the tools they need. It costs quite a bit to get these videos produced for you guys and get all this content out there all the time. And that's where the money goes. So if you like the content that Cover One produces and you like being a part of the Cover One conversation, being in the Slack channel, it's worth the $10, the $25, whatever tier you choose to purchase. The $10 is running up soon. So get in on that if that's the one you want to do. But it's a full season. It's a full year from the time you pay. You get access to the premium content, the film room, the Slack channel, and we're just we do podcasts just for the premium content members sometimes, where it's just Eric and I have a conversation we want to have and put out to the premium subscribers. Guys, I'm telling you, it's a deal you can't beat. I pay more for draft guides than I do for the Cover One subscription. So if you like the content we're doing, we can't do it without you guys. It keeps us going. So come on over, subscribe. You can go to cover1.net, find the premium content portion of the website, sign up there. You'll get added right into the Slack channel. You can't beat it. Tell them I sent you. Come into the Slack. Tell me, hey, Aaron, I came in because I heard you on the pod selling it. So come on in and talk to us. It's a great group of guys, like I said, and you won't be disappointed. It's $10 well spent. And like I said, it goes back into making more great Bills content for you guys. The power within, the backup kicker is trash. That kid, I felt bad for him. He had a tough night. Luckily, we have a great kicker, not worried there. But yeah, I felt bad for the kid that just kind of that night piled on him a little bit more and more. Banged up Bills, Kyle Trimble said, looked like a twist sprain mechanism. Kyle, if that's another guy, man, if you guys aren't following Kyle Trimble on the Twitter universe at Banged Up Bills, I've had him on the show. We're going to have him on the show all throughout the season here. We do a Wednesday show, and then we do the pre and post game. So on Wednesdays, we're going to have him on for segments throughout the year, especially any big injuries. The guy is great. He's a great follow. I'm always asking him if I see something at practice or a guy limping. He's always giving me great advice of who and what to look for. And he's been spot on almost every time. Anton Smith says, DeCoste at left guard. Thank you for bringing up DeCoste, man, because he stresses me out, and I'm not going to lie. I had it written down as one of my notes that I wanted to talk about. He's terrible, guys. I don't know that there's anybody that can convince me with anything that he deserves to be a starting left guard in this league. Not on this team. There was that one sack where the guy's he walked right in between DeCoste, and I don't even know who was at center. Was it Bodine? Maybe, or Groy? I don't know who was in, but DeCoste just let him walk by. He's like looking the other way, and the guy just stepped right in between them. It was terrible. And there's been a number of things I've seen this preseason already from DeCoste that I don't know why he's continuing to start. I don't know if Wyatt Teller just hasn't done enough to get the coaches. I know Wyatt was getting yelled at a bunch in training camp, and even in the last game, he played well. He has that mean streak. His legs got crossed up a few times. He doesn't have the cleanest footwork. Maybe they just trust DeCoste a little bit more. I don't see it. I don't know if anybody's seen it or maybe can make a case for DeCoste to stay on this team, but I am not seeing it. Bills fan says Groy better than Bodine. Bodine, I don't know how you say it. Yeah, I mean, that's super interesting. So we brought it up on the pregame show. It seems like McCarron was getting reps with Bodine and Groy was getting reps with Peterman. Now that McCarron's out, that might push Bodine into the second unit. I do think I like Groy better. I think Groy has a little bit more power to him. I think he has the ability to anchor a little bit better. Bodine doesn't anchor well in pass protection. That concerns me with some of the guys that you face all throughout the year. Those interior defensive linemen are getting bigger, stronger, faster. If you can't anchor, your quarterback's going to have a long day. William Swan asks, will Corey Coleman make the roster? I think so. I don't think it'll be handed to him, but I do think that he will make this roster just on sheer talent over the rest of the guys alone. I think If you had to press me on it right now, I would say obviously Kelvin Benjamin, Zay Jones, Jeremy Curley, Coleman's probably your fourth guy currently. I know Andre Holmes keeps getting mentioned. I guess I'll throw Andre Holmes in there. I don't see it. I'd rather have Rod Streeter than Andre Holmes, but Holmes keeps getting more reps than Streeter. And then I think Ray McCloud is probably your sixth receiver right now. So I would roll with those guys, those six guys. And I know a lot of people thought Ray McCloud was going to be on the outs when they brought Coleman in. I don't see that at all. I think there's plenty of space for both of those guys. I think guys that are going to be on the outs are Brandon Riley has not done enough for me to warrant him being on the 53. Maybe they try to tuck him on the practice squad again. I don't know. I think they might try to put Cam Phillips on the practice squad. I think that you can make a case for that. Robert Foster's gone. They're nowhere to be found. 1 for 8 tonight. I mean, I don't even know if you put him on the practice squad at this point. Maybe you just cut him and let him go. But I think that's your 6. Yeah, people like Ray, man. I like Ray a lot, and I think he offers a lot of the same things as Coleman. But to me, you can't have enough of those guys, especially if you're trying to push the ball downfield with a guy like Josh Allen. You're going to need some speed guys. How did you like Taron Johnson, number 24, from Nick John Masilio? I think Taron's got some good and some bad. I'm going to have to go back and watch it. I've been very worried about the nickel spot all preseason, all offseason. I'm not thrilled with what they've done there. I don't love the idea of Taron going out there and being the starting nickel cornerback. I think he has some potential. I think it's just such an important position in this league. People just often think it's the third worst guy. I think that it's better than that. I think you need to have a better player than that. I don't know. I haven't seen enough of Taron Johnson to say if I like him or not. I think that he does have some potential and he's flashed some potential. But Philip Gaines hasn't done anything. So I think it's Taron Johnson's job right now to lose. And Philip Gaines might not even make this roster. I think there's a good chance. They don't have much invested in him. I think there's a good chance Philip Gaines doesn't even make the roster. Did DeBeer get playtime tonight? I didn't see DeBeer. I'm assuming that he got on the field. But I didn't necessarily see Greg McCarron's roster spot helps Ray or fourth tight end. Yeah, I think that helps a lot of positions. To be honest, it might even help defensive backs be able to keep somebody else there. You're going to want an extra wide receiver, an extra defensive back. You really can't have enough of those guys on the roster or the practice squad because those positions get dinged up. With defensive back, man, it's so lacking in depth that maybe they want to bring on one more guy onto the roster just in case guys aren't playing well. Landry's blindside on Johnson, just like he did Aaron Williams. Landry is such a scum. Again, I brought that up, guys. Yeah, Greg, I don't think it was a dirty hit. Guys, I know we don't like Landry. You can go on my Twitter timeline right now, Aaron Quinn 716. I called Landry some bad names a couple days ago when I saw him get up and throw the ball at his own teammate's head. I don't think Landry's a good dude. I've never been an advocate of Landry. That was a clean block. I have no issue with that block. Taron Johnson's got to have his head on a swivel there. I thought that he laid a clean block on him. Is it something you want to see in the preseason? No. Obviously, Taron was able to come back into the game. He didn't have a concussion or anything like that. So that's great. Aaron, did you see the Mahomes 75-yard in the air TD pass? I did not see any other football besides the Bills tonight. I haven't gotten a chance to watch anything, so I did miss that. Since AJ's gone for a while, did they bring an arm for preseason? Yeah, we mentioned that. My thought is maybe Matt Moore, John. Who knows, though? We'll see. Cornerback has to be the top spot to watch. Cut down day. Yeah, I think they're going to look at other rosters big time for cornerback. And I think a lot of positions. And I think the defense depth is far from finished for what they want. I think you're going to see a lot of linebackers that they may take a look at and cornerbacks as well. And I wouldn't be surprised if they try to bring in somebody at the left guard. There's a few guys I think still out there in free agency, maybe, and then guys are going to get cut. I wouldn't be surprised if Dukas is maybe himself on his way out and they can try to swap out that position and bring somebody else in because that's going to be a need too. Cut day is going to be big for this team. See if they can swap out any of that spots or maybe swap out any of the bottom part of the 53. Sarah Neal. Yeah. Sarah Neal finally got his name called. I think he's far, like I said earlier, I think he's a little bit far away from actually making this team. So I'm not going to get too excited about Sarah Neal. Anton says Teller will start. I think Teller's also got a way to go. I think he might come in as a rotational guy throughout the year, but I think he's got a ways to go as far as development. He looked pretty good, like I said, in that first preseason game, but you saw some sloppy footwork later on. I just think he's got a little bit better. He's got a little more development to do before I think I trust him being a starter, but I don't trust DeCoste at all. And he's been in the league for years. So maybe you're right. Maybe Teller, even with his poor footwork, is better than having DeCoste out there. But anyway, guys, it's hard to do this show solo. I appreciate every single one of you that has come into this chat box tonight and come out and help me keep this show going. My throat is starting to go, and I still got to get this show all loaded up into the podcast. So wherever you guys find your podcast, whether it's iTunes, Spreaker, wherever it is, Google Play Store, go find us, subscribe it, like it, leave a review. That really helps us out a ton. Go over to the YouTube channel, subscribe, hit that little notification bell. And I know, drink water. I drank all my water before I went on. Now I don't have any. So I got to get a water, but hit that notification bell over on YouTube. You'll get notifications whenever we go live or whenever Eric is releasing videos. He's going to hit up the quarterbacks. He's going to show you their best plays, their worst plays. He did it last week, and you're going to get notified whenever he puts out new content. So definitely get on that. Like I said, head over to cover1.net. The guys I know right now, the guys are in the Slack channel with us, all the contributors. They're working on content right now to get out to you. So get over to cover1.net. Find the app on your whatever mobile app store you have. Go find the app, download it, because as soon as we drop that content, you'll get it direct to your device. And follow us everywhere, all the social media outlets. Just search Cover One. You're going to find us. I don't have to tell you all the handles. You guys know how to work social media. Go find me. Give me a follow, because I'm a fun guy to follow on Twitter. So it's at Aaron Quinn 716. I'm always up for a good conversation about the Bills. So come talk to me. And again, like I said, if you really want to talk to us, come over into the Slack channel. Got to be a premium member to do it. Go sign up, cover1.net. Join the premium membership. Like I said, helps to keep putting out the content for you guys that you guys love so much. We can't do it without the fans. We love you guys. And thanks for staying up late with me and watching this. And go Bills.